interesting conversation for me. I'm used to doing like technology talks from like the GeoServer or GeoTools project, and they're really easy because I'm giving people software for free. It's a little bit more challenging for me to do these community talks because not only am I asking for people to volunteer and give me their time, I actually have to work really hard to inspire them so they want to give me their time. So yeah, I'm a bit nervous, which is why I invited Helena to do this talk with me, so we'll see how I go. I'm a community lead with Boundless. I'd like to just thank my employer for allowing me to be with you today. In the open source world, I am the lead or on the steering committee for several projects. With OSGeo, the GeoTools and the GeoServer project, and with Location Tech, I work on the UDIG project. As a volunteer, I really tend to focus on onboarding new projects. I really like that developer advocacy, helping people not suck on the internet. It's great. So with OSGeo, that means that I'm the chair of the incubation committee. And with the Eclipse Foundation, that means that I'm the chair of the Location Tech Technology project. In the last little while, I've been trying to step up my game. So I'm the committer representation for the Location Tech, and I've just been re-elected, so I'm kind of stoked about that. And I've also been nominated and serve on the OSGeo Board. And my co-presenter is Helena. Helena cannot be summed up in mere bullet points like myself. She is a one-lady army of advocacy, outreach, and excellence. And she joins us from the North Carolina State University. In our context, I just want to take a note that she's a recipient of the Saul Katz Award, and that's just a recognition from our community of her outstanding service. I'm going to do a really quick history of OSGeo. I guarantee it is so high level it will probably offend everybody. OSGeo was formed in 2006. I think the second attempt stuck. And it was loosely based on the Apache model because Apache was really amazing in 2006. And once again, they're amazing now with all their cloud initiatives. One thing I really love about OSGeo is that great focus on users and community. I really find that that's a lovely thing in the software world. When the organization was formed, it was formed with kind of a structure with a president and a treasurer and secretary, as you'd expect, board of directors. And the interesting thing was that it had enough of a budget to have a director. And so this was a single employee of the foundation that would run around and do stuff. In 2013, OSGeo restructured. So it restructured on a low capital model. It was very much focused on volunteers. Now, we still had our same president, treasurer, secretary, but we were deliberately not trying to budget for an employee. The other interesting thing that happened in this time period is we were applying for our nonprofit status, and we were bouncing back between not-for-profit, nonprofit. While this was an uncertain relationship with the U.S. tax office, we didn't want to accept any sponsorship and make life complicated for people. And that brings us to kind of now. This year, it's our 10th year anniversary with OSGeo. And we're kind of in a fun situation. Our finances are very healthy, and we're trying to strike a new deal with our membership. In particular, we want to be in position to be able to financially support the volunteers in our community. So we're going to really be focusing on volunteer-led initiatives, but we'll be able to back those with resources. So I'm quite excited about that. The other thing, in addition to the 10-year anniversary, we've had some great, harsh feedback from our membership, and so it was a really good time to revisit our mission, our objectives, and guide the foundation into the future. So just a little bit more about that. We've got a wonderful forum called OSGeo-discuss. OSGeo is very transparent as an organization, resulting in, let's say, honest feedback. One of the consistent calls feedback for the organization is that OSGeo lacks leadership, or that it lacks volunteers, or it lacks money. The truth is there's so much good we can do in the world. We are always going to have more ideas than we have hands to do them. So I really respect people that step forward in action with their hands and take part. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to a particular email from Daryl. He did a really nice job of going through our objectives as a foundation and ranking them. He was trying to rank them according to progress. Unfortunately, they were aspirational objectives for the most part, which by definition, you don't want to make progress. You actually want them to inspire you and guide you. Other things that had changed is a lot of the language in our objectives was kind of out of date. It didn't match current fashions. Projects are no longer desperately asking us for project hosting. They're actually quite content with GitHub, but there are certainly other services we can offer them. And our membership has not shown interest in pursuing all of the goals that we had outlined. So we no longer tend to actively try and make our own geodata. We tend to work with other groups like OpenStreetMap. Just in terms of leadership, we've gone through several leaders over the course of our foundation. Frank Wardendam did the initial kind of setup, a lot of behind-the-scenes work, really focusing on setting us up as a software foundation. Arnulf Christie did a lot of really great organizational and external outreach. He was amazing. And most recently, Jeff McKenna kind of did everything. He was really good at setting up lots of local foundations and chapters and doing lots of one-on-one interaction. So all of these leaders have offered us really amazing service. In January, the OSGeo Board had a face-to-face meeting. For those of us like myself that were new to the board, it was really a good opportunity to figure out how the organization functions. We had a couple of tasks. One was to define new leadership and really work on the vision and the mission and these aspirational objectives. The idea was we really wanted to set up the foundation to succeed for the next 10 years. Just a note, we did take Daryl's feedback to heart, and we're really doing a strong separation between our aspirational objectives versus our measurable strategic objectives that would be part of a yearly strategic plan. And here's the board. I'm kind of lurking at the back. Friendly people from all over the world. I think everybody was jet-lagged or hungover. So for the next 10 years, here is our new mission statement. We want to empower everyone with open source geospatial. I think this is excellent. In terms of a mission, this one was actually really fun to work through because there's so much that people want to accomplish within this organization. Foster global adoption of open source geospatial technology. That would be great. That actually kind of sounds a bit like location tech. Being an inclusive software organization, we really want to draw on volunteers from all walks of life. And a fun one for me is we are not interested just in open source. We're also interested in the kind of the open approach. We really want to make sure that all our projects are open and transparent, and that can be very challenging for some of our membership. So this is where this open philosophy comes into. And if you're following OSGeo-discuss, it's a matter we're talking about even this week. And our attitude for this is really participatory, community-driven development. So I'm going to churn through these aspirational objectives. I've got a few discussion points, but I really would invite people to, interrupt, heckle as appropriate. We are focused on revising. Yep.
So just a question. You're focused on the open, and the conference itself is OSGeo.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if there's any, do you see that because there's a difference between open and free?
Yes.
Is free still a part of the mandate or a part of the system, or is that discussed in any way?
We're really focusing on open because it's got a little, it's embracing what we mean by freedom, and it doesn't get as confused with free as in beer versus free as in liberty.
Okay.
Yeah. So that we are very much focused on, on being transparent, inclusive. Yeah.
I've been listening to Stallman recently, so I'm starting to.
So you were all full of heckle. That's great.
That distinction is an important one.
It's a really tricky one, and it's easier in other languages. So, yeah. I would really love to hold a Phosphor-G in Brazil. This is a matter that's really dear to that community, and it would be a wonderful influence both on our foundation and on Brazil. So just a reminder, these are not measurable, etc. So our first one is we want to provide resources for our foundation projects. We've got so many volunteers, and we know that they can do more. So if you're interested in revising, say, the look of the OSGeo website, and if you've got time, we can provide you a budget so that you can outsource that to a graphics design company. We really want to focus on enabling people. Other things, the previous version of this objective was really focused on infrastructure. We really don't need to be a Forge or a GitHub. One of the strengths of OSGeo is our flexibility to say, we don't care where you come from, please welcome, join our community. Another kind of feedback here is we have provided legal assistance for some of our OSGeo projects, but we don't tend to talk about it because if someone needs legal assistance, it's probably because they're in trouble. So that's not the kind of thing you'll see on the discussion email lists. But when we do need legal assistance, we don't tend to hire our own legal staff. We'll go out to the Free Software Foundation or the Eclipse Foundation, and these organizations have a mandate to help us. So we make those connections, we work with others. That's how we play. Another external objective is we really want to foster the use of open source geospatial software. This is kind of our bread and butter. This is what we are doing in the world. There's so many opportunities for everyone. And here's a tricky one. We want to encourage interoperability with open and community standards. The previous version of this objective was really focused on open standards, and we do have a healthy relationship with the OGC, like we have a formal memorandum of understanding, and we really, our community thrives on open standards, but we also love the attitude, the can-do attitude of a lot of the community standards that have grown up within our foundation, like WMSC, or that are coming from other groups like GeoJSON. Another one I want to talk about is the internal objective. This is a bit trickier. We want to ensure interoperability between our foundation projects. This is a really big ask for a volunteer organization. Now, it is a challenge that a lot of our projects are currently meeting. When we do like a GeoServer release, we test against the latest PostGIS and the latest open layers. But this really is a big ask, and as we add more projects, this one will be harder to track. So this might be a case where the foundation gets to use its resources in order to meet this objective. Another thing I want to call out to here is the OSGeo Live distribution. It really helps keep our projects releasing and being honest. Here's another tricky one, which was a little bit heartbreaking to go over with Venka, our new president. We wanted to encourage a high degree of quality and innovation in our foundation projects. We are so focused on quality. An OSGeo project can't make it through incubation without a viable community, without some release procedures in place. We set a really high bar, and that's something that's kind of unique to our foundation. But this focus on quality means that our projects can't necessarily be agile and focused on innovation and breaking things. So that's a real challenge to me as incubation chair, and we'll talk a little bit about some steps I'm trying to do to help with that. An external objective, and this one is interesting. This is one I wish Helena was here for. We're championing the use of open source and community participation through the open education, curriculum development. This has been a wonderful place where we've made progress, and we've been managing to teach a lot of students how to use open source software, but we need to turn the corner in the future. Unless we teach them how to participate, they won't be healthy open source citizens. Another one we want to do is just enable communication and cooperation with our OSGeo communities. It can be a real challenge to round up all the projects and put them on the live DVD. It can be a real challenge to get some development teams working on compatibility. So, yeah, we really want to join forces and accomplish more. And this is a little bit of a hybrid one. I am going to run out of objectives eventually, don't worry. I really like this because this, to me, really describes how OSGeo carries itself in the world. So we're really focused on community building at that grassroots, horizontal level through local chapters. And that's a wonderful strength. You could really feel Jeff's impact as he embraced this direction. And another real strength we have, which is kind of more Arnulf's influence, is engaging through vertical, like industry or sector-specific partnerships, memorandum of understandings, being members, engaging with people vertically. And by hitting at the grassroots level and at a higher level, we're really being effective, and it's lovely to see. And here's just another fun one. We really want to be a welcoming and inclusive worldwide organization at all levels. And we've been meeting that a little bit in terms of code of conduct. We also have some work to do in terms of diversity. Can I ask all the men in the room to stand up? Can I ask all the white men to raise their hand? I want you to imagine someone in your organization who would be sitting down right now and how you can bring them to the next conference. Now, you see this feeling of awkward? That is part of what we need to address. Thank you. My talk rating just went down. Excellent. Yeah, in any case, an internal objective, and this one I really want us to embrace is because we've got so many wonderful people that work so hard. I really want us to celebrate them, excellence in openness within and service within our community. I really would like us to be able to do more. Yep.
We didn't get to celebrate the women here. We have to stand up.
No, this was about diversity. And making you think. That can be as awkward as you like.
Also, it's making us stand up would make us feel uncomfortable because we're the minority.
Yeah, it's okay. I got a couple things for the strategic plan. Now, when I first pitched this talk, I was right back from the face-to-face meeting, and I'm like, woohoo, we're going to have a strategic plan. It'll be out by February. I'll be able to do a talk and report on progress. I'd like to present to you the strategic plan. Well, some progress we've made. We do have an operational budget for 2016. We are using this to enable our various committees and say, you have a budget, go and break things, have fun. Some of the things that we don't want broken are our admin and overhead and our insurance. Those are kind of fixed costs. But we are ramping up our support for our system administration community that keeps the lights on. Amazing. We can't thank them enough. And we're also really trying to empower our outreach through our marketing committee. Right now, the board has been making a lot of day-to-day decisions, which we really would like to be strategic about with the marketing committee as a deliberate outreach initiative. In terms of that vertical strategy, we need to empower our board and our president to actually go and travel and make those connections with external parties. And a big focus for us, which is really challenging to spend money on, is events. You might notice that OSGeo puts on a lot of events. I ran a GeoServer code sprint that I think it lost $500. We're running like a code sprint in Spain somewhere. I think that might lose $500, but chances are it'll gain money. We've been using our events a little bit as a funding source, and I would like us to be a little bit more aggressive with using them for advocacy. Now, this budget does represent a $50,000 increase from last year. Last year's budget was not spent. We need volunteers to step up and say, hey, I can do that and spend this money. So please consider stepping up. Otherwise, we won't be accomplishing this. Another thing that's really fun here is we've got these 4 strategic objectives. These are going to be guiding us over the next while. This is, out of all of the things we could do, this is what we're trying to do in 2016. So we're really trying to showcase excellence in our communities. The other one we're really trying to do is we're trying to proactively engage with external partners. Right now, people have been coming to us, like OGC's been coming to us, Location Tech came to us. We would like to go and see other groups out there and say, wow, we love the direction you're heading, and reach out and help support that. The other thing we just want to focus on is fostering our mission, vision, and goals. We want to actually focus on our mandate as a foundation. And this isn't, I'm kind of beating the same stick here. We really want to be empowering our individuals, our committees, our communities, and allowing them to extend their reach. So my GeoServer sprint was an example of that. By using OSGeo and asking them for money, we were able to fly more developers in and accomplish an upgrade that we hadn't been able to do ourselves over the last 3 or 4 years. When we're looking at these objectives, we're actually trying to address how they help users, developers, business, education, public sectors. We're trying to see how effective each idea is in order to evaluate what actions we pursue. Now, at the moment with our strategic plan, we put all of this on the table, and we're reaching out to our membership saying, please give us ideas, and there's a form you can fill in order to make suggestions. I do want to talk about some progress, though, because even without a plan, we can make progress. We do have a new leadership. You might have noticed there was an amazing series of excellent leaders. We're a little bit tired of watching these people be wonderful, try everything because they're so inspirational. They tend to inspire themselves. This year we're trying not to rely just on one leader in the form of Venka. We're trying to back Venka up with 2 vice presidents. And those vice presidents are geographically, everyone's from a different part of the world. And so this is going to reduce a lot of the travel overhead and hopefully make the president's position a little bit easier to manage. The other thing that I want to talk about is we've set up a new deal for sponsors. We have many organizations that haven't been sponsoring OSGeo directly, but they've been sponsoring everything we do. And so we've revised our sponsorship deal to account for the total sponsorship that an organization has done across all of our events, all of our projects, and that's been really, really successful. The other thing we've done is we've put a discount for prior sponsors, and this is an experimental one. We're providing a 25% discount for low or middle income economies. You can see our website for details, but we're trying to pull in people from a wider reach around the world. The sponsorship levels are very reasonable for a foundation. And here's our sponsors thus far in 2016. So just a quick round of applause for these people. Thank you. The other thing we're doing, this gets back to that innovation challenge, is we're making a new deal for projects. So right now, our OSGeo incubation process, a project has to be excellent in every one of these categories documentation, open community, an active, healthy community. You can have a wonderful open source project, but if you have no users, you're never going to graduate from our incubation process. We are softening those requirements. We're introducing a new category of project called a community project. And this is specifically to help onboard and include some of the amazing projects like PG routing and others that have been a part of our community forever, and we've had no ability to recognize these groups and their excellence. And finally, we do have a mandate to promote open source spatial. So we've been including any spatial project on our OSGeo Live. We're really focused on promoting our industry and on our approach. So a project does not have to belong to the foundation in order for us to give them some love. And yep. Another thing that I'd like to work on next, so this is a little bit of a call for volunteers, is I'd like to set up a new deal for our providers. So these are often service providers or product providers. Frankly, they're the people that employ our developers, and they haven't had a way for us to recognize them and credit them for all of that they do and enable. Now, I've noticed that the QGIS and the map server and the GeoServer team have started to rank their service provider pages into a core contributor. These are providers where the staff are taking responsibility and ownership for the community and for the project. And then also like experienced providers or contributors. These are usually service providers who have shown the ability to do some work on behalf of their customer and contribute it politely back into the open source project. It's really sad as a project lead where you get someone and they've said, yeah, we've been using GeoServer for years, where did all my functionality go? And really they've engaged with a provider who's taken their money, made a fork, and they're stuck. So, yeah, I would really like to see the rest of the projects have this approach. It is proving popular. And this is another one for Helena, is we have successfully set up a new deal for open education. So the GeoForAll initiative has formally restructured itself as an OSGeo committee. And so this is the top source of our, remember that vertical strategy? This is our top source of pulling in other organizations and helping them work together. I just want to revisit those external relationships. So OSGeo does collect a little bit of war paint here, a little bit of shields. These are like-minded organizations which we are currently working with. The way in which we work with them varies. So sometimes we'll have a memorandum of understanding that seems popular. Sometimes we'll have a membership, like with Location Tech. And sometimes it'll just be a letter of support. And as I said, a lot of these organizations are gathering up under this GeoForAll banner. And GeoForAll, 109 labs out there in the world. This is proving an amazing outreach effort. One thing I love about it is that it's a long-term play. This is the kind of long-term play that education can make that private industry sometimes cannot. So this is really setting us up for the future. In terms of internal relationships, I just do want to focus on our projects. Without the projects, we wouldn't be having this party. And also our local chapters. This is that grassroots advocacy which is helping spread OSGeo around the world. So join the future, volunteer with OSGeo today. Any questions, heckling? You guys are really quiet. No sugar? You just had coffee. Yep. Okay. Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So the memorandum of understanding versus having a seat on the board, I mean, how does that with like-minded organizations?
Right.
I specifically, I'm not trying to bring up the past in any bad way, but I do kind of want to understand. I know that was a discussion that came up at some point with location tech
Right.
specifically, and I never understood. Like, so
Okay.
is there how does the relationship work?
So there's a couple things in play here. Is OSGeo is learning as we go, and different industries like to have different relationships. So in particular, the education, I don't want to say industry, academic institutions really enjoy having these memorandums of understanding. When I read them personally, they don't look very committal, but they make everyone happy. The few I've taken part in reviewing, it can sometimes be a challenge to have OSGeo do some take. We're very good at giving things away. We give away free software. We actually need to make sure that our agenda of participation is in those memorandums of understanding rather than please use our software. Okay? We want students coming back to us and learning. Other organizations like Location Tech is based on membership, and they've got a couple different categories. Right now, OSGeo has been a guest member since the inception of Location Tech, but we have not always been very good about providing a representative to go say hi on our behalf. I'd just like to thank Michael for stepping up as our member representative for Location Tech. So we haven't necessarily made good use of that relationship, even though we'd set it up formally. Okay? Letters of support, that tends to be interacting with governments. Often a government will be like doing a call out for like an open data policy, and we'll say, yes, good job, government. Open data is good. We like you.
What if there's, I mean, so, and I don't need to focus on Location Tech.
Yeah.
OGC is another organization that,
Right.
Like-minded,
They-
similar, and there's overlapping interests, right?
Yeah.
And maybe places where there might be conflicts of
So,
interest.
so with OGC, we've got a memorandum of understanding, but OGC also has a membership status with Location Tech. So OGC apparently is happy with it working in a couple different ways. Where do you see the conflict of interest with OGC?
Oh, I'm just saying the potential. I mean,
Oh, okay.
Our goals are around open standards as well.
Right.
And it's
Oh.
that. And,
Yeah.
I'm not saying there is. I'm just
Yeah, I know.
I'm just using them to deflect from an actual.
Our goals with open standards are actually to capitalize on all the work that the OGC has done and to encourage them to do more, because any work they do is work we don't have to do. I like that.
One of the things OGC is doing now is they're actually making their standard process more community driven. It's not just behind, in Word documents and other things like that. They're more open formats, things that people can participate in a lot easier, more calls for feedback from everybody. So I think they're being a little bit more community driven, and hopefully that's some
Yeah.
input that we've been pushing on OGC that they started to take to heart.
Yeah. In particular, I think the geo package spec is on GitHub, which is a nice way in which I'd like to encourage OGC to move. Yeah. Okay. Question at the back from Rob.
There was some discussion, I forget what it was you discussed, around charter membership and what exactly that meant.
Right.
How many people were
Yeah, no, I hear you. So the question was about charter membership. That is something we did discuss at the face-to-face meeting, and we're supposed to work on it, but it's not necessarily strategic. It's kind of bread and butter. How do you run a group? So we've got membership, which for OSGeo being inclusive means, hey, you signed up for an email list, have a sticker. Like, we really want everyone. For charter members, these are people that have been put forward and have been nominated, and they have one responsibility. Their responsibility is to take part in the board elections each year. I wouldn't mind extending that responsibility, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to get away with it. The discussion in OSGeo-discuss was about the math, and like we're GIS people, we love to geek out about math. Other organizations have had difficulties with their rules based on people just nominating a whole bunch of, charter members and calling a snap election while everyone else is on holiday or something. So we could pay attention to the math. There's been a couple good suggestions. Maybe that'll show up on a board meeting next month. I'm not particularly fussed because you know, our community is drawing on an awful lot of nice people. Anyone else? How am I for time? Do you have to kick me off?
Your time is up, but if there are more
Okay.
questions.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, and thank you so much for being here.